Welcome back. In this chapter, we'll be talking about functions in Python. We'll be learning where to use functions, how to define them, and how to pass parameters. And we'll also conclude this chapter with the lambda functions. To start off, we're going to talk about something which is called decomposition. So what that is basically segmenting the code into smaller parts, mostly for easier reading and maintenance. And we'll basically be using this for functions, which are portions of code that are set out to do a certain task or to return a certain result. So let's start off by defining our first function right here. So let's go here. And so in Python, we start off with def, which is sort of a built-in kind of function as you saw here. Def, and then we're going to have our name of a function. Let's just call it function for now. In Sublime Text, you know you did it right, but when you have different colored text for the name of the function. And then you add parentheses, and then you add a colon. And then you indent, and then you add whatever code this function is supposed to carry out, what portion of the tasks this function is going to do. So for example, this is going to print, this is our first function. Okay, so this function is sort of code within the code, so it's a portion of the full program that does just printing out this statement. So and now we can call this function. So we call, if you're familiar with other programming languages, later on we can reuse this function by calling it in the following way. So you type the name of the function in Sublime Text. We have autofill, so we're going to function parentheses, and that's pretty much it. And then when we build this, as you can see, we have our predefined function, and then we call it, and that code is read by the interpreter, and you see your results here. So what we also have with functions is returning results. This is another purpose of functions. And what this does, instead of having basically this print inside the function, we actually have a return value, which is another purpose of functions, to give a return value of some sort of code that's to be carried out, that is to be read and interpreted. So let's do this. Let's define another function, def, and the name of this function, let's say it's called, I don't know, returning, parentheses, and then colon, and then inside that we're going to have return a string, for example, and let's say I am a result. Okay, so in this case, since we have return, it won't print out. This returns a value, but you have to print it out manually. So let's do this. So we have print, and inside that we're going to have returning. As you can see, it autofills for us. So returning, don't forget your parentheses. So as you can see here, returning, and there you go. And a good habit to have when programming is that you store the result, you store return functions with the return value to a variable of some sort. So let's say we have a variable called result equals to, and we're going to call returning with parentheses, don't forget, and then we print out the variable result. As you can see, it's the same thing, but this time it looks more orderly and clean instead of having it the way we had it before, which is like function within a function with like double parentheses, and that's kind of confusing. So like this, it's pretty clean. And moving on, we also have something interesting in Python, which is we can return multiple values. So let's make another function. So def, and we're going to say we're going to call this one, I don't know, let's say multival. Open our parentheses, colon, and then we're going to say, so return, and then let's say we have two values, a string called this is a result, and then to separate them we have a comma. Let me fix the string. We have a comma, and it's separated by the other value. So as you can see here, we have two values, and they're separated by the comma. And notice that this function is printed out in parentheses, which you're going to see right now. So let's do this. we're just going to do it the messy way. So let's do print multival, and let's print build that. As you can see, it's sort of, here's our first return value and here's our second. And so that's it. Just this is how they're separated. And then later we'll learn how to actually extract these values. And that pretty much concludes our introduction to functions. Please tune in next time.